Have you ever felt shame? I think we all have as men. Shame is something that's uncomfortable. We don't really like it. Some people act like it's no big deal, and that's how they deal with their shame. They just say, oh, what's the big deal? Everybody does it, whatever, whatever. Some people, they just try to ignore it and act like it's not there. And other people, they make promise after promise after promise, thinking that one day that promise is going to stick and they won't do whatever it is they're doing anymore. But how do we deal with our shame as men? What do we do with it? Let's find out in today's video. There are different types of shame that everyone deals with. There's that funny shame that comes when those old pictures of you are brought out, from junior high or high school, and your kids look at them and just die laughing all day and show it to all their friends. When they're looking at it, you kind of feel that, well, at the time it was cool, but there's a little actual shame going on there. But then there's the real shame. Like sometimes everybody has those before pictures. The pictures that you don't want people to see, and maybe you've had a lot of weight loss. I was in that boat. When I was about 50 pounds heavier, I didn't like that picture being seen by other people. And then there's the hidden shame, stuff that we don't share, the stuff that we don't deal with, the stuff we just kind of ignore or pretend it's not there. It's the roughest because that kind of shame weighs us down. You see, we don't deal with it because it's uncomfortable. We don't like it. The problem with that is if we don't deal with our shame, it's like living with a backpack on that has 100 pounds in it. You can carry it around for a while, but eventually it's just going to wear you out. So what we have to do is start dealing with our shame. And how do we do that? Well, we build a judgment-free zone to deal with our shame. And then we unload our brain boxes. And then we take some time to review our game film. All right, the first thing we want to do is build a judgment-free zone. The best place to deal with your emotions as a man is to enter what I call the judgment-free zone. Although a lot of guys think of their emotions as kind of a twilight zone. The judgment-free zone is when you as a man take an honest look at your emotions without judging yourself. What you want to do is look at them clearly. When you look at them clearly, you remove that judgment from your emotions. Now, why do we do that as men? Well, it's important because we all have that inner critic, that thing, that voice inside of us that keeps us from actually dealing with things that are hard because all we're doing is beating ourselves up about them. So that inner critic will keep us from really dealing with our shame. And the reason we don't deal with our emotions a lot of time is because all we do when those feelings come up is we judge ourselves for them. We put ourselves down. We say things like, I shouldn't feel this way, or I'm such a freak. How come no one else has the problems I have? What's wrong with me? I'm so weak. You see, that's judgment. And that kind of judgment will keep us from actually dealing with the stuff we need to deal with. So what I want us to do is to move into a judgment-free zone. That's where we take the judgment out of it for now. We just deal with the emotion. We deal with the shame. We take care of it. That doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. What we're doing is we're dealing with it so it doesn't overcome us. I liken it to someone who has to deal with their budget. See, a lot of times people don't deal with their budget because they feel guilty about it. And so that judgment keeps them from actually taking a good look at their budget and fixing it. And what we want to do as men is take a look at our life without the judgment, and then we can deal with it. Hey guys, check out davidmaxwellcoaching.com. It's a great site to give you some resources and things you need to be a better man. Check it out today. All right, the second thing we want to do is unload our brain boxes. You see, the problem with us as men, a lot of times is we never deal with the things that we're feeling. We just kind of stuff it away. What I say is we take boxes, we put them in our brain, we stuff everything in it and move it to the back. And we don't deal with it because it makes us uncomfortable. And so our brain gets loaded up with boxes and then we can't think clearly. And people say things like, well, what do you think? What do you feel? And we're like, I don't know. That's because we're full of brain boxes. So what we have to do when we enter that judgment-free zone is take away the judgment, and then we can start looking at our feelings. We can start opening those brain boxes up, and figure out why. See, some of us are caught up in activities we hate. We don't like doing them, but we keep doing them and we don't know why. Well, we're never going up and dealing with what's going on in our brain. You see, when you do that, it gives you the capability of looking objectively at your feelings. Why am I feeling this? What's going on? How come I keep acting out this way? So what we want to do is take shame out of the equation and we suspend that judgment. It doesn't mean we don't deal with things that we've done wrong. We should do that. But in order to see what it is you're doing wrong, you've got to take the shame away or you'll be so uncomfortable you won't do it. We've got to do this as we unpack our brain boxes because that's how we're going to deal with what's really going on in our head, and that's how we deal with our shame. All right, the third thing we want to do is review our game film. Being in a judgment-free zone isn't a pass to do whatever you want, but it's the best way for you to look at the areas in your life that need to be changed. When judgment comes in our lives, we don't think about stuff. We don't like it, so we avoid it. You'll avoid dealing with things when you are judging yourself or putting yourself down. What you have to do is have a game film mentality. You see, athletes look at game film to get better. Now, they'll see their mistakes, they'll see the things they do right, they'll see the things they do wrong, but the goal is to get better. That's why they look at it, even if it's uncomfortable. And that's what we have to do as men, is develop a mindset of game film, where we're going to review our life and see what we did good, what we did bad, and work to fix it. Sometimes we keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again because we're not figuring out why. And when you go into that judgment-free zone and you look at the game film of your life, you look at yourself realistically and say, okay, why am I overeating? Why do I keep looking at porn? Why am I having such problems in my marriage? You got to deal with those things objectively, or you'll just ignore them and hope they go away. You see, game film can help you begin to make real changes in your life. You can recognize the areas that you keep repeating, and you can recognize the reasons why. You can figure out how sometimes your hurts, maybe hurts from a long time ago, are causing you to act out the way you're acting out today. The point is to change, to grow, and not just sit there and feel bad about your life. All right, guys, I want to challenge you this week to take some time to set up a judgment-free zone mentally. To kind of go, okay, what's going on with my life and how can I begin to deal with the one or two main pressures that you have? See, a lot of us as men deal with some main things, one or two things that are just pressuring us right now. So what I want you to do is don't sit there and judge yourself over it. Don't criticize yourself over it. Pull back, look at your game film, begin to deal with it, and you'll fix a lot of the shame areas in your life.